Welcome to Behind the Scenes at the Hanover Theatre. Now, here's your host, Lisa Condit.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with Ron Mcneil of the Fab Four, the ultimate tribute coming to the Hanover Theatre. That's going to be on Saturday, September 23rd at 8 p.m. And this show is appropriate for all ages, which is really great. Welcome to the program, Ron.
Oh, thanks for having me on. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So there are just a ton of Beatles fans here in central New England, and I have to say I am one of them. Have you been a long-time fan yourself? Is that how you got involved?
Oh, of course. I kind of grew up listening to my older sister's records, and then I borrowed them and never gave them back. That goes.
I do. I did the same thing with my brothers, it's true. So did you know all of the words to all of the songs before you even auditioned for this?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, I grew up as a fan, and, we all love the Beatles. And I never thought I could have a job being one of the Beatles, because the Beatles were the Beatles. But my father, when I was a young kid, my father took me to a show called Beatlemania, which is kind of the start of this whole thing. It was on Broadway. And my father took me here in L.A. to a production of that, and I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. Those guys aren't the Beatles, but they are the Beatles. That'd be kind of a fun job. And I had already learned a lot of their music already on guitar, just because I was curious to how they played and how they sung all those different things. So I was learning all the parts just for my own amusement, really, and just to become a musician. But here I am, some years later, performing as John Lennon. So it's been a dream come true, really.
Absolutely. And you raise an interesting point, because I don't know if you realize it or not, but the Hanover Theatre also has a conservatory that's part of what we do here. And you mentioned that you learned the Beatles music as you were learning music. I think that was a really great way to become familiar with all sorts of different rhythms and chords and melodies and tunes. I remember both my brothers going through the same songbooks, let me tell you. Mm. So there have got to be some favorites in there, right?
Oh man, that's very difficult. Yeah, I mean, they're all really my favorites. It's more about picking the ones out that I can live without. But they really are all great. I mean, they broke so much ground, and there's so many different things, like you just said, when they were groundbreaking things like, Yesterday was the first real pop song with some strings on it, from a rock and roll band, and some different things like that, where they went through Eleanor Rigby and A Day in the Life, and stuff on Abbey Road, which is just amazing. It's very difficult to pick one good one. Let's face it, that's why we're all big Beatles fans, because they were all such great songs.
Absolutely. And I heard that watching the Fab Four is like watching the real thing. And you have toured all over the world. Want to tell us any of the highlights from your tour and what that helps you bring to little central New England?
Well, we're looking forward to going to Worcester. It's a really cool little area. I was there, in my early 20s, I think, or my late teens. And just really nice people, and it's a great area and a beautiful theater. But we have been all over. We go to places that don't even speak the language that enjoy the Beatles music. I mean, the music has touched everyone everywhere we go. We've been all the way up to Canada, down to Australia. We were in Japan, and a bunch of other different places that just everybody loves the music of the Beatles, and it really is an honor for us to bring that music in a live concert situation to people who obviously can't go see the Beatles anymore, and I think that's what people appreciate about it.
Well, and I have heard that the Fab Four is truly the ultimate tribute, and for our listeners out there, you can always get more information about this show coming to the Hanover Theatre at the Hanover Theatre, spelled with an RE.org. But I'm curious, Ron, what do you think really makes it the ultimate tribute?
Well, as you've probably figured out by now, there's a lot of different people who get dressed up as the Beatles and perform the Beatles, or people who just cover their music. But what we tried to do when Artie, who's our bass player, who plays Paul McCartney, when Artie and I got together here locally at a local Los Angeles Beatles convention, we decided that we wanted to make what we could comfortably call the ultimate tribute, which meant a lot of attention to detail, I think. Artie, for example, who portrays left-handed Paul McCartney, Artie's a right-handed player.
Oh, boy.
So he decided for the show he's got to learn to play the bass and the guitar left-handed just for the show.
Wow.
So there's some attention to detail there, right?
Right. And I can't even imagine the fine motor control that you need just to become a lefty instead of a righty, never mind in a skilled way when you're playing the guitar. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, and then he's got to sing on top of it and look cute like Paul McCartney and smile like it's not a problem, you know what I mean?
That's entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And wear the 3-inch heels and not look like nothing, look like nothing's going on. But, so that's an example. Our guy who plays George Harrison, who's, an exact lookalike, really, for George, who's actually from Liverpool, England. And we have some other different things that we try to do in the show to make it very authentic. We're the only 4-piece group in the world that plays everything live on stage. Now, there's no fifth Beatle. There's no use of any, and it's very popular nowadays to use some backing tracks or some tapes or different things like that. We're playing all of that music, including the stuff they never performed live, all live on stage every night. So if there's mistakes, that's just the way we got to roll with it. So we arranged different keyboard sounds to, for example, a trumpet solo on Penny Lane. I'll play on a keyboard, and we try to arrange all of that complex music as a 4-piece. So for me, using the label Ultimate was a challenge for Artie and I, who put the group together, to say, what would we like to see in a tribute band? Because we're huge fans of the Beatles. In fact, we hated tribute bands. We didn't like the idea of it. We never thought that would be a good idea. But Artie, with his voice sounding very similar to Paul's, and with all the attention to detail, I think we've worked out a good show that we can comfortably call the Ultimate Tribute. And I think all Beatles fans will appreciate it. I mean, we really try to appeal to the hardcore, the people who really know. For example, I held my hand a different way when I picked the guitar. I used to hold my fingers out when I picked the guitar. And someone told me, well, John Lennon doesn't hold his hand like that when he picks the guitar.
Oh.
I said, you're kidding. So I had to wrap my fingers. I taped my fingers up to make sure that, I got comfortable to play the guitar in a closed position. So that would be more like John Lennon. The little tiny things that nobody would notice except for people who are going, wow, I mean, the attention to detail is amazing. Not to mention the instruments and the costumes and all that other stuff as well.
Well, right. And you know what? You're absolutely right. It's always the attention to detail that makes a difference from something being okay to pretty good to amazing, right? So I can't wait to see the amazing show that you guys are going to put on here, the Fab Four, the Ultimate Tribute, coming to the Hanover Theatre. That's Saturday, September 23rd at 8 p.m. There are still tickets available at thehanovertheatre.org. And Ron Mcneil of the Fab Four, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. Anything else you want our audience to know before we head out?
No, I would just make sure to say, make sure you bring all your friends and family and people who like the Beatles. The thing we get a lot is, I should have brought my mom, I should have brought my sister, or wherever people who like. If you know people who like the Beatles, you have to invite them to the show because they'll really appreciate it, and I think they'll get a big kick out of it and a fun evening with the greatest music of all time.
Absolutely. That's it. I've got to invite my brothers. They're coming to the Hanover Theatre that night. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this quick break on Behind the Scenes with the Hanover Theatre here on WCRN AM 830.